All right, everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King DL, Lauren Frey, Grim Clover, Internet Bloodsports, and City of Steel, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So about an hour ago, managed to finish Splatoon 3. I've been talking about it online for the past hour, going over some other YouTubers' opinions and stuff like that. And I have to say I agree with them. No, no, just kidding. All these YouTubers are scum. Don't take anything they say seriously. Just go out and buy the game. In fact, don't even watch this video. Go out and buy Splatoon 3 right now, even if you don't have a Switch, because this game is phenomenal. Amazing multiplayer gameplay, stellar single player story and campaign, great new modes, great new features, a fantastic upgrade to the original in essentially every way. Great boss fights, lovable characters. The animations I think are a massive improvement over two. I was surprised how like charming that seeing the idols move is in this game. There's just so many positive things to talk about. Right. But I think the long and short of it is that, like, how is the single player campaign? Because I think that is like the one aspect you can get through the game and you can get through like fairly quickly. Like when it comes to multiplayer, you're gonna be like grinding that shit out for like years. Okay. Like there's so much to do in the multiplayer. There's so much stuff to unlock. There's so many like achievements to get, so many things to do. Like it's absurd how much content the game has. But my view is that what I decided to do this playthrough, and I think I will be doing this like with all subsequent Splatoon releases, is that like I chose before I even touch the multiplayer to go through the entire story campaign. Now I didn't like 100% it or anything, but like I really am deeply, deeply, deeply invested in like the world and lore of Splatoon. It's incredibly creative, it's fresh, it's original, it leaves a deep cut on your soul. Like it's really off the hook, man. It is just fantastic to see Nintendo put out like such a stellar, interesting property like this that has such a well thought out, interesting world filled with lovable characters, many of whom do not appear in the game itself. Last game, Splatoon 2, Mr. Grizz, the guy behind the counter at Grizzco, the Salmon Run guy. Like he appears in Splatoon 3 as a major character, which I did see coming. But I I think a lot of people do not appreciate just how much thought like went into the world of Splatoon because like I've noticed going through like the deep lore, going through like the Sunken Scrolls, they foreshadow like certain plot elements way ahead of time. Uh, you know, there's a specific plot point at the end of Splatoon in Splatoon 3 that was foreshadowed in 2, right? I'm sure there are other plot elements that have been foreshadowed at this point, but I think the city attack mode in in 3 was foreshadowed in 2 as well. Like these guys are constantly innovating and coming up with like new concepts and ideas and really delivering on them. And I think they're not really getting enough praise for it, especially since like the campaign mode is so good. Um, I playing the campaign, you really feel how much the game has evolved since Splatoon 1. Because Splatoon 1 and like the base game of 2, they kind of felt basic, they kind of felt straightforward. 3, although it's not on the same level as Octopass, probably because they're saving the real difficulty and challenge for the DLC. I Splatoon 3 has the best base game campaign out of those three campaigns by far. Like the level design is top notch. Like the game expects you to know how it works. Like they have like entire stages like built around like specific weapon designs. It's a lot more like engaging than what we got in the first two base campaigns, right? Like again, it's not on the same level as Octopath 2 and all the crazy shit we got in that one, but like there are lots of cool powers this time around, like the crab tank, awesome. Like the Spider-Man slinger, awesome. Like you have this katana, awesome. You have all this like cool stuff, and you have like interesting new boss fights, including one that fans of Super Mario Sunshine will really appreciate. I I found myself like enamored with this game from start to finish, and really couldn't put it down. I finished it in like what, 2 sittings, something like that. It was just a phenomenal experience from start to finish. And there's actually still quite a bit more to find. I actually have not found any of like the deep lore stuff in the game, like going over like the background for characters like Shiver or Fry, I actually still feel like I don't know anything about them other than like the bare essentials, and I like them a lot. I actually do. It's safe to say that I do like Deep Cut more than Off the Hook. I never really grew attached to them. I mean, I guess I like Pearl, but Marina never was never a fan of the character. Um, Shiver is a lot more likable. Fry is has a lot of energy. Big Man is just charming as fuck. Like I like them a lot, and their role in the plot is quite different than what we've seen up for an idol group this far. And of course, Callie and Marie are back, and I've seen people complain about their role in the story, but I found them like incredibly charming. It was nice to see them like together working alongside you, right? Like I think in the first game it was Captain Cuttlefish giving you instructions, and then like Agent One and Two kind of come in as a plot twist. Again, this is something other people don't like to talk about because they like saying that these campaigns are all the same, but like the plot has a similar structure. Like Mario has to save Princess Peach, but like what actually happens is way different, right? Like the Great Zapfish is always kidnapped in all these games, but the actual consequences of that are radically different. Like in two, Callie gets kidnapped, and like Marie kind of has to recruit an agent to go out and rescue him, right? Rescue her, right? In three, it's a little bit different, where like you have Callie and Marie are with you after a certain point. Like Captain Cuttlefish recruits you, then he gets kidnapped, and then Callie and Marie have to like team up with you, and you're kind of in like this new area with these with deep cut, and it's just a lot of fun, and like you really feel like you have to keep playing and like find out how it all ends. And it's very short, but like it's a very Super Nintendo kind of short, in which it's highly appealing, it's endlessly replayable, like you'll never get tired of playing these stages. Like they're all really, really, really good. And I keep seeing so many people shit talk these stages, like calling them basic when they really aren't. They're so good. Like I think people are comparing these to like platforming stages or like something like that. No, no, you have to understand. These are third person shooter stages. When it comes to the genre of the third person shooter genre, these stages are like god tier, right? Like just compare this level design compared to like something like Halo or like Battlefield or Call of Duty, right? Where you just basically go through a hallway. Like this, you have like all these crazy obstacle courses, you have all these crazy powers, all these crazy enemies, like all these amazing bosses. I just I just found myself like very, very impressed with everything the story mode had to offer. Now, I think like for some reason, Fry, like uh hmm I feel as if there's some like weird difficulty spike when it comes to this game where like a lot of the I had more trouble like near the first half than the second half. I suppose like once you get acclimated to like what's going on and like what you have to do to beat the game, like you can just kind of skip like a good chunk of the stages and just kind of beeline for the end. I think that's what I did. I think there are a handful of stages I still have not played, so I'm gonna have to go back and check. But that's gonna give the game a lot of replay value. I am going to want to go back and like collect everything. So I'll probably get on that next weekend. We'll see. Single player campaign, great experience. Highly recommend it. I've only actually started playing the multiplayer just recently, the past couple of hours, and yeah, it is clearly radically different than Splatoon 2. Like this is the thing that a lot of people are like getting hung up on is that like, oh man, the game it's the exact same. Anyone who has actually played Splatoon knows no, it's not the same thing. Like it feels like the game is a lot faster. It feels like there's a lot more going on. There's a different meta. Stages are radically different. And I think like from an entry level standpoint, as someone who's like just getting into this specific entry for the first time, like the thing I noticed right away is that because of the way you launch into the stage, instead of like spawning to the spawn pad, the stages actually are designed where you can actually go up and hang out around the area where characters spawn at. Like in the first two, it's like impractical, but in this one, you actually can do it, which is very very interesting to me because you can actually like go make going up there like kind of a viable strategy. instead of what happens in two, where it just feels like you have to you have to like just kind of leave the launch pad alone, the spawn pad alone. I find that very interesting, and like it does feel like the game does have some new moves. Like it has a squid surge, which I haven't found a lot of use for, and it does have like some new weapons, and it's been so much fun playing this game. And that's the thing people don't like to admit, to acknowledge when it comes to this series. Like it's the same game. The game is one of the best ever. Like I don't think there's any disputing that at this point. Like 3 entries in, like the boomers like denying Splatoon 3's like credibility. Like these guys are gonna get old and die. These guys are gonna get old and these guys are gonna be dead and buried in the ground in the next 20 years, right? Like the people growing up with Splatoon who are playing it, who are actually playing it, actually enjoying it, this is like their favorite thing ever. This is like an amazing experience, right? This is an amazing game. And I think the vast majority of the YouTube audience doesn't want to admit they've aged out of this kind of thing. That's kind of how I feel about this. This is how I kind of feel about the Pokemon thing. It's just like you have to acknowledge that like you're not the target audience. Like you can't just like keep insisting this game like doesn't appeal to you when it's not, when you could theoretically just do something else. If that really if it really was like that unappealing, you wouldn't even know what it was. You know what I mean? You would never have even heard the name Splatoon. But like because you need those clicks, because you need those that ad revenue, because you need that like viewer retention, you have to keep talking about like every major Nintendo game that comes out, even if you're like not all that interested. It's disgusting, honestly. I One of the things I really like about Splatoon is that because of the in-universe like social media system, it feels like fans don't have to like interact with like people on the outside, people who are causing problems, people who are like bitching about the game or making things up about it. Like fans can just communicate directly with each other with no interference from YouTubers, and that is absolutely based. That is going to lead the fan base into developing on its own organically with no outside interference or no like damage control. Splatoon is going to be, or already is, to be honest with you, the biggest Nintendo franchise in the world. Just wait and see.